Mr. Speaker, the bill from the member, is an act respecting the development of a national strategy to assess, prevent, and address environmental racism and to advance environmental justice. Mr. Speaker, allow me at the outset to clarify the situation. We are all in favor of fighting racism. Racism is a problem. It's a cancer in all societies around the world. We need to address it. And we are all seeking better justice, a better balance, better opportunities for everyone in society. When we had the honor of governing Canada, our party always sought those objectives, recognizing that it's a fight without an end because more justice must always be sought. Let us recognize that climate change is real. Climate change was created, among others, by humans. And humans need to invest in reducing the effects of climate change. Let us also recognize, of course, that the right to live in a healthy environment must exist. That's what we find in Bill S5. So, Mr. Speaker, what we see in what I've just said is that we all agree on the goals that we must have: less racism, more justice, addressing climate change, and ensuring we live in a healthy environment. But the road proposed is very different, and in our point of view, is much more realistic and responsible. Why do I say that, Mr. Speaker? Because for 8 years, these people have been governing by telling everyone what they should do about climate change. They insult us as if we hadn't done anything, even though for the energy sector, under our government, we lowered greenhouse gases by 2.2%. Mr. Speaker, what is the record of this government over 8 years? This government lectures about the environment, but they don't have much of a record. They haven't met their goals, aside for recently. Why? Because the Canadian economy, like the global economy, was put on pause during the COVID-19 crisis, and so emissions went down. But under their governance, they've never been able to meet any goal whatsoever. Mr. Speaker, they were proud to say in 2008, when they signed the Paris Accord with other countries, that Canada would be at the vanguard. I recall that well. The founder of Equitad, now the Minister of the Environment, said, "Finally, I'm proud to be Canadian because the current government will act." Well, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, Canada under that Liberal government isn't part of the 13 or 14 countries that have met the Paris goals. And there was a COP meeting in Egypt recently. It's a place that is a dream to talk about climate change and bring the planet together. What was Canada's record there? 58th out of 63. The UN went over 63 countries, and where is Canada after 8 years of Liberal rule on climate change? 58th out of 63. I'd say they're at the top for lecturing, but they are 58th for results. That's what we've seen. It's not just the Conservatives who say this, and we're always attacked on the environment. No, it's the UN. They did a scientific, neutral, objective, and non-partisan review. What is the result? Canada under this Liberal government is 58th out of 63.
And their magical solution is to tax. Taxing will release pollution, but that's not how things work, Mr. Speaker. Pollution has gone up under their system. Our approach is completely different. Our approach is based on 4 fundamental pillars that I will enumerate with regards to climate change. First of all, we want to reduce and tackle the reduction of greenhouse gases by investing with advantageous tax programs for innovation, working with people who know about emitting and high emissions and who know how to reduce emissions. We want to reduce pollution, not just find numbers that people have just pulled out of thin air. We have to reduce pollution.
Yes, we have to reduce it. When we will achieve a great reduction this year, what will we do on January 1st? We have to continue. It's a never-ending story. And a government led by the member from Carleton, the Conservative government will address it correctly with concrete solutions based on new technology. The
second pillar, Mr. Speaker, green light to green energy.
No more paperwork, fast-tracking the green light project, green light to green energy. This is exactly what we want. Je vais vous donner l'exemple.
I'll give you the following example, Mr. Speaker. In Quebec, the Quebec government, re-elected with a strong majority, would like to create new hydroelectric dams. We will respect the Quebec government's will to create new dams, but contrary to the bill adopted by the Liberals, we won't do a second environmental review. We believe that Quebec experts are fully capable of measuring their own impact. Ottawa isn't smarter than people in Quebec, and that's what the Liberals want to do. With us, it would be a fast track. You want to do it, we won't do what you've already done. Green light for green energy. Third pillar, Mr. Speaker. Let us be proud of being Canadian when it comes to environmental measures. We have a great knowledge base to reduce greenhouse gases for traditional energy, for nuclear, for hydroelectricity, for solar energy and wind energy. Let us be pleased and proud of being Canadian. Let us export our technology and let us defend Canadian energy. Mr. Speaker, as a Quebecer, I've noted, like everyone, that a report noted that in Quebec last year, 18 billion litres of oil was used. It's not great. It's not terrible. That's just a fact. 47% of that energy comes from where? From the States. 53% from Canada. Mr. Speaker, we're a producer. So why do we send billions of dollars south of the border to Louisiana and Texas? Well, I love Texas and Louisiana, don't get me wrong, but I checked this morning. Perhaps things have changed since this morning, but I checked this morning. Neither Texas or Louisiana contribute to equalization here in Canada. Our fourth pillar, Mr. Speaker, which is essential, and everything has to be based on this. First Nations. Working with First Nations so that they can be partners in these great projects of prosperity for the environment and the economy. Our leader, the MP for Carleton, about a month and a half ago in Vancouver, started a large consultation with First Nations, and that is the key to the solution. We must enter in partnerships with First Nations so that they contribute. They can work on these great environmental projects that we need in order to tackle climate change. This has to be done hand in hand with First Nations. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, as far as we're concerned, fighting racism goes through working with those who have been subject to the terrible results of racism in the past. In June 2008, for example, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper recognised the terrible consequences of the residential school system, presenting an apology here. That was the thing to do. And now let us look towards the past based on prosperity with an end to racism. In our colleague's bill, there is no clear definition of environmental racism. There is no economic impact of what this may have. What the MP proposes, well, we believe in it generally, yes. We have to fight racism. Yes, we need more justice. Yes, we need to tackle climate change. Yes, we need to live in a healthy environment, but the path put forward by the member isn't the one that we believe in, and we want tangible and realistic and responsible solutions in order to truly fight climate change. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.